Hey, 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 welcome to the Beyond the Prophy Podcast. I'm your host, Jasmine Haley, and today's guest is Britt Glauz. She is the creator of Brush with Britt. She has been able to leverage her knowledge and expertise to provide invaluable guidance and support to dental hygienists everywhere. She is a global dental hygienist, y'all, and she's inspired hygienists to advance their careers. With a following of over 120,000 on TikTok, 85,000 on Instagram, and a podcast with more than 80 episodes, Brit's impact on the industry is undeniable. As a World Hygienist 2024 new RDH category, she is dedicated to advancing the careers of dental hygienists through interprofessional collaboration and medical dental integration. Welcome to the show, Brittany.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm listen, I am very eager to get into letting the listeners learn more about you. I've had the opportunity to meet you about 2 years ago, and it's awesome to kind of see some of the growth that you've had over time. So, I would love for you to just let us know your start, because I know I want to talk a little bit about that, of like how you got started with dental hygiene and why dental hygiene has been a career for you to be able to explore your talents and your gifts.
Well, starting out, I will start with dental hygiene. I originally was a dental assistant for 8 years prior to hygiene. And so getting into assisting after a while, I started to think, what else can I do? What's the next step? And the main thing that drove me to hygiene was that I could go through community college. I didn't have financial support. I had to work and go to dental hygiene school. So I knew that that was the only route, the only option. I was between hygiene and nursing and ultimately chose hygiene, not even really having a passion for hygiene or knowing anything that hygienists do. And fortunately for me, once I got into hygiene school, I found that I did have a very big passion for prevention that I had no idea about. And from there, I eventually got into dental hygiene school and graduated with my associates in dental hygiene and moved on to my bachelor's. And during that time, during 2020, was when I graduated with my associates and started my Brush with Brit, my social media stuff. And I mean, kind of took off from there.
Yeah, yeah. So where did the push or the pull for you to take your career public and make it very visible, right? Where did that come from? Like what was the foundation of that for you?
To be honest with you, I really never even had a goal of it being what it is now. I didn't even think that it would turn into that. And TikTok wasn't even out at the time. And my main goal was just to provide information for people who were looking for a degree through community college. And I just thought, it was so hard for me to find this information. Like maybe I'll just make some posts and help a person or two with that. And then as it just continued to grow and grow, I started to expand on things. And yeah, I didn't initially have the idea that it was going to turn into what it is now.
Did you have to go through like any mindset shifts or anything like that once you started to see its growth and like really get to a place of figuring out what the new vision would be? Was there any shifts or anything like that that you had to process?
Oh yeah, lots of shifts, especially with the internet. I mean, there's lots of good and bad that comes with it, and you learn how to manage those things and that wasn't skills that I had before. It's not all positive on social media, and navigating the negativity was new for me. Like it used to affect me a lot when I first started. But you kind of grow and find new ways to manage the negativity of social media because there is so much more positive than bad on there, but it is something that comes with it that I don't think a lot of people are prepared for.
Mm. How did you process that?
My initial way of processing it was reaching out to other influencers at the time and asking how they managed it. Um, also being really upset about it and overthinking a comment for days. That was
That's
another
real.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I would have hundreds of positive good comments, and then there would just be one comment, and it would keep me up at night, and I would just think, "Oh, wow, like how am I going to reply to that? How am I going to deal with that?" And honestly, like there's even been comments, about my looks or something like that, and those comments have, some of them have created insecurities that I never had before.
Mhm.
So I mean, you go through a lot of different things that happen with social.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. It's so real. And I mean, it's like taking the stage, whether you're taking the stage speaking, whether you're taking the stage and you're on a podcast, whether you're taking the stage on a social media stage. It takes a lot of bravery and courage to be able to do that. And there's a lot of folks that steer away from that, fear of judgment and things of that nature. But what kept you motivated to keep going through all of that?
The thing that keeps me the most motivated is being an advocate for our profession and most importantly our patients. Like that's why I don't stop doing it, because I know it's making a difference. And there was a hygienist, Carol Jan, who she had told me one day, we were just having casual conversation, and she said, I realized that I can make the biggest difference by helping other hygienists. And I was like,
Mhm.
whoa, that just like blew my mind, because I was like, okay, I can help, 8 patients a day, but what if I could make a difference in the hygiene community and help patients through all of those hygienists? So
Mhm.
that's really what keeps me motivated.
Mhm. I love that. And it's like a really big reminder too for us that like when we're thinking about dental career motivation, that's the foundation of this of why Beyond the Prophy started. We can't go on that journey alone. Like we seriously can't. You reached out to people who are on the same path. You reached out to someone that had been in the industry for several years. Carol Jan is a well-known figure here in dental hygiene, and I love the advice that she gave, and almost helps us to like requires us to really tap into what will make us happy and what kind of legacy do we want to live now. I talk a lot about legacy, obviously, for many different reasons. But when we're clear on that, regardless of the negative situations that show up, we will still show up for that. We will still show up for ourselves. And I love that you've tapped into your network to be able to continue to move forward.
Yeah, and even you have played a part in that too. Going to your course and seeing the way that you were speaking and sharing your methods and expertise and all of that too. I learned so much. I think at that time I maybe had 2 years of experience as a hygienist, and I
Mhm.
just remember being blown away by all the stuff that you're doing too.
Yeah, yeah. And it invigorates you, right? It invigorates you.
Mhm.
So it's like for the listeners, like whether you are hopping on a phone call with someone or whether you're going to a conference and just listening to someone else's experiences, that will help push you in the direction of alignment and what a lever that alignment looks like for you. But since we met in 2022, it's just amazing to see like you've even broadened your vision and your reach to really think on a global impact. So I would love to know like where did that like how did that show up for you, Britt? Like what were the steps? Like what were you thinking in that process like when you decided to say, "You know what? US ain't enough. We going global, baby." Okay? So like what was that like for you, Britt?
Oh man. Okay. So I originally applied to the Award of Distinction 2023 because they had created a new RDH category. And I just found out about this because I'm on my computer, I'm doing my research that I always do, reading about stuff. And I nominated myself. I said, you know what? I'm not going to wait for anybody to nominate me. I'm going to nominate myself. And so I did that. ended up receiving that award. And here I go, still doing more research. And I find this World Dental Hygienist Award. And I'm like, okay, I got to know like what this is, what it's all about. And so I start reading and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I can apply for this. And it's still new RDH category. So I figured, I had maybe a pretty good chance of receiving it. And I applied for it and ended up receiving it. And then I was just blown away. Like it's still kind of unbelievable. And then getting to the award ceremony and getting to meet all of these hygienists from around the world, I mean, that just puts things into such a different perspective. And you're like, wow, we as hygienists are really doing this globally. And to see us come together on that level is amazing.
Mm, I love that. Like the first thing that kind of like that came in my mind was make your own stage, like or um tell your story, because like at the end of the day, like you said, you can wait and you can wait 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? Which is nothing wrong with that for those who have decided to wait or whatever, but it's actually there's nothing wrong with taking the opportunity to share your own story. That's why it's there. That's why they allow self-nomination. And I love that you share that, because sometimes that even means that telling your own story is starting your own podcast. Telling your own story would be starting your own event. Telling your own story is like you starting your own social media page and being a resource and a source of inspiration and motivation for other hygienists. And I love the fact that you shared that. They recognize it as well, and it opened your eyes up to more things. And I think we as hygienists, we've got to get out from the three walls. Most of us don't have a door to our operatory, so like it's three walls. Yeah, like three walls. My operatory, I don't actually have a I have two walls and a window that looks out to Chick-fil-A. Every day is a struggle, y'all, okay?
Mine's McDonald's.
Man, okay, the struggle is real, okay? But we got to get out of that operatory and go and meet some folks and see
Yeah.
like how incredible this industry could be. Like there's so many things that you can do.
Yeah, it was very eye-opening. I think, there's a lot that we are able to do in the States. And so meeting hygienists from other countries who don't have maybe as broad of a scope as we do, that was
Wow.
eye-opening. Like we're over here wanting to do Botox and own our own practices, which is amazing. And then there's other places where, they can't even press the x-ray button. The doctor has to come over and press the x-ray button and you're like blown away. You're like, wait, what?
Wow.
That would never work here.
Yeah.
So that was that changed my perspective a lot. And I met another hygienist from Belgium, and she shared with me that I believe they got the profession of dental hygiene in 2019.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So it's like, that makes me feel like, okay, we have some things that we gotta do and get done. We have a lot more work to do.
Mm, yeah, so much more work. And then I never even considered that. I've never considered that. And in fact, I will have to admit that I have stayed mostly in paying attention to what's happening here in the States versus internationally.
Yeah.
I know that they have the International Federation of Dental Hygienists. I've always known that it exists, and I've seen on social media colleagues who have gone to that conference and what it's meant to them. So I love the fact that you shared that. It's actually encouraging me also to think, hey, maybe one day I can go to that conference and meet other folks and get inspired in a whole different way that I've never done before. I love that.
Yeah, you should come in 2026. We're gonna go to Italy.
Italy?
Yes, let's go. Let's go.
I'm scared.
No, don't be. That's a great place to go. I'll take you.
You know what, listeners? We're going to record this day, 2024, October
Yeah, you have
2024.
2 years to prepare. Like you got this.
I'm scared. I'm scared, but I'm also like excited to think about that. Who else wants to come with us? Let us know.
Yeah, it's gonna be in Milan, so
Ooh, I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. So,
Yeah.
describe to me what's a typical day for you as like you're a dental influencer, you are a speaker, you're a podcaster. What does what does your career look like right now at this point in time?
I do 3 days of clinical hygiene. I work at a small private practice. Love, love, love my office. Finally found my dental home, my forever home, what it feels like I'm never going to leave. Love it there. I've been there for almost a year now. So I do that 3 days a week. And then on my other days, which some people think I'm off, 4 days, but there's a lot of behind the scenes. I'm sure you're well aware of all the stuff that all the time it takes to do things. So on my other days, I'm editing, doing recording podcasts like I am right now, filming, doing emails. Emails, it's so funny. It sounds like, man, that's so silly, but emails literally take hours. Like it takes so long to
Listen,
get to
I
back to
get
all
it.
the emails. So, yeah, emails, trying to find more speaking events and sponsors and stuff for that. And I mean, and then throughout all that, I'm probably videoing half of it, taking little clips here and there and trying to make a day in the life or something out of it.
I love that. I love that so much. For you, you mentioned that you found your forever dental home. I would love for you to kind of share with the listeners what that process was like for you. Like,
Whew.
because there's some of us that want to still provide clinical care. I thought I would never return back to clinical care, and I'm back in clinical care and I'm loving it.
Oh, it's
I'm
so nice to
loving
hear. I
it.
love
Like,
that.
it's really wonderful. So I would love to know like what that looked like for you. Like what worked for you.
My journey to finding my forever home was definitely rough. I was in a toxic work environment. I had definitely been when I was a dental assistant. I had initially thought I found the place that I was going to stay, and it kind of went the wrong way. And it got so bad, I randomly was like, it wasn't randomly, but the energy was so bad there that I just was like, you know what, this is it. I can't work here anymore. I'm quitting. And I had no other job lined up, nothing. And I had never in my life ever done that before because I very much love stability. And I
Mhm.
would I would work in that toxic work environment and just stay there, and it just got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. My mental place was so bad. So I just quit. I gave my 2 weeks notice and I had a month off of work and I went to Portugal. I was
Oh,
like,
that's
okay.
amazing.
So I took a trip and I had done so much networking before that and, met a lot of other hygienists and just out of the blue, one of my hygiene friends, she said, "I'm leaving my office. I'm moving to Texas. I think this would be a really great place for you. Like you should come and do an interview." And that is how I found my job that I'm currently in now. I really have to thank networking for this position because I think I didn't initially think networking had anything to do with hygiene, but it
Mm,
most certainly does.
yeah.
And so that is how I found this position.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. Yeah, some of my great positions that I've had over my professional career were from networking. I also have found too that I ask different questions now. I also look out for different signs first when I'm initially thinking about a position. Were there anything that kind of stood out for you when you were searching for your dental home that you were looking for that was a sign that it would be a great dental home for you? Like, was there anything in particular that stood out for you in your process of evaluating?
For this particular office, the fact that the friend that I know was the one recommending the office, and she's been in the field for so long, and she was already there for 2.5 years. That right there was like a green flag for me. And the things that she had to say about the office were all good things too. So that initially, and meeting the doctor too, and him just being very welcoming and very supportive. Like he already knew about the things that I do on social and the podcast and all that kind of stuff. And he was so supportive of all of it. And I was blown away by that because it's not always like that. And that was a huge green flag for me. I'm like, wow, he actually like supports me in doing things outside of the operatory. This is so cool.
Oh,
And they
love that.
also, like the other employees that work there, one has been there for 34 years, another for 16. I mean, just green flags popping up all over.
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that. And I highly, highly encourage the position that I have right now, I was recruited for. However, when I met the office, there were like signs that I saw with how the team interacted with one another, the interest that the doctor took in speaking with me. Anytime they're not interested in speaking with you, that's a red flag, y'all.
You're like,
That is a huge red flag. But I also appreciate when you have a place that has gives you an autonomy. Because I remember when I was interviewed and they explained how they value giving dental hygienists autonomy. And the first question that I asked was, "What's the catch?" Like, why are you so supportive with everything else that I'm doing externally? Like, why are you allowing me to set my schedule? Like, these are things that, most practices aren't really interested in. And so they are out there. And I think it's important, like you said, either getting feedback from a colleague, taking some time to really see the I guess the vibes or the energy. I'm not trying to sound woo here, but like the vibes and energy of the folks that you're going to be working with. And I think that's important. A lot of times we just get in and we'll do like a working interview and we're not really asking the questions that we should be asking to find out like what's the culture of the particular practice we're in.
yeah, and definitely agree with you about the autonomy because that makes me feel so fulfilled being able to practice
Mhm.
at the highest level of my scope and do what I need to do. And, with the appointment times too, it just, you feel very respected for somebody to say, I trust you that you're going to pick the times that you need that are appropriate for you to treat the patient. And if somebody trusts me to do that, I'm not going to take advantage of that. I'm going to be honest about the time that I need. I'm not going to sit there and try to like milk the clock and stuff. And so I appreciate when doctors allow you the autonomy to choose how much time you need for things like scaling and root planing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what's next for Britt?
Oh, somebody else asked me this question recently, and I think I think right now I am trying to just be happy with not having a goal, which is actually a challenge.
Oh,
That
that's
it's challenging for
big.
me. Yeah, I mean, because I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna go to dental hygiene school. I'm gonna become a hygienist. Da 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 da. And now I just, although I do really want to set a goal, I'm trying to just not have one for a little bit until I figure it out. And I'm trying to be comfortable in that space.
Mm, that's good. That's so good. It reminds me of like when I first took my first sabbatical, which you had one, but you were in Portugal. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh la la.
I just didn't know it.
Exactly. Like it was such a challenge for me, Britt, to not have anything on my schedule. Like to literally go day by day with like, you know how we are when we work in clinical, we have like everything is structured. Every moment of our time at work is covered, right? We know what patient we're seeing, all of that. So we get used to carrying on our personal life like that. And I think it's something really beautiful when we actually create that white space and we just be.
Yeah.
Like, we're just there, and sometimes we're scared of that. I feel like for me, I was scared of that because I wasn't comfortable with being with myself because that's when my mind was all over the place. I didn't wanna have to deal with the things I needed to deal with and heal from. So I love the fact that you shared that, and I think there's something really beautiful that's gonna come out of that because you're giving you the space to just be, and it's brave
Yeah.
and it's bold and it's exciting too to see what else is next for you. I've got one more question for you.
Yes.
All right. So if we were to go back to 2020 Brit, what would be that one piece of advice you would give yourself as you're starting your journey as a dental hygienist?
Do everything that you want to do, even if it's social media, you have to get out of your own way and just follow your dreams. Don't let anything stop you. I think we tend to let ourself get in the way of what we want to do moving forward. So, if anything, get out of your own way. And I mean, for new hygienists, I always say continue your education. Like, I know you just got done with dental hygiene school, but never stop learning and network. Go to these dental conferences, just broaden your horizons as much as possible. And don't think that you have to be in this box of only clinical. There are so many options available to us outside of clinical, and you can make your career whatever you want it to be. So get out of your own way.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, how can the listeners follow you so they can continue to be inspired along their journey?
The best place, if you wanted to send me a message, would be on Instagram, Brush with Brit with two T's. And you can also email me if you need to at brushwithbrit@gmail.com.
Yep. And don't forget to follow her on TikTok as well.
Oh, yeah, TikTok too. And that one. I forgot about that one.
Same name, Brush with Brit there.
Yeah, Brush with Brit.
All right.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well, I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on to the Beyond the Prophy podcast. It's been awesome getting to know you more and learning about the work that you do. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me, Jasmine. I appreciate you too.